Richard Martinson. First of all, nice orchestration this morning, Bruce and Shirley and Mr. Folks. But I came to talk about what I told you last week, another example of something coming to fruition in Los Osos. I submitted 8 pages of comments on the recycled water management plan last year to the water board, to the county, to the CSD, and at this point nobody refuted one word of it. I'm going to read paragraph 2. There are gross inaccuracies and inconsistencies throughout the plan due to the fact that the county and its consultants relied on outdated information in its preparation. Outdated information could have been obtained by simply making a few phone calls to the water purveyors. Instead, production data from 2006 through 2008 was relied upon to establish 2,056 acre-feet per year as the water demand baseline used in all related tables and graphs in the plan, a number that grossly overstates current water demand conditions within the service area. Purveyor production totals for years 2010 through and 2011 clearly established current water demand at approximately 1,600 acre-feet per year, not 2,056 acre-feet per year. Therefore, when reading my comments in conjunction with the recycled management plan, please notice how many of the tables and graphs are, as of 2012, obsolete. We were told we were wrong on those assumptions. The CSD submitted the same comments. The LOCAC, the Local Advisory Committee, submitted the same comments. Recently, the same consultant from Wallace Group had input on a grant application that Los Osos submitted for $300,000 of water conservation money for outside the prohibition zone. Lindy, can you come in? You guys approved a resolution at your last meeting, or meeting before, to use $300,000 of the project money as matching funds. I'm going to read from the executive summary of that application. First line. The Los Osos community of approximately 15,000 persons is supplied only by Los Osos groundwater basin. Their current water demand is estimated at 1,569 acre-feet per year. My comments were submitted July 16th of 2012. I'd like Mr. Gibson or staff to explain how water demand in Los Osos went from 2,056 acre-feet to 1,569 acre-feet, which is approximately what I stated in my comments, approximately 1,600 acre-feet, not 2,056. Mr. Meacham, I gave you a copy of those 8 pages of comments when this was before the board. I'd like to give a copy.
Thank you, Mr. Markinson.
Good morning, I'm Julie Tacker from District 2. I live in Los Osos. Again, I asked for an independent investigation into the affair of Gibson and Aspiro and the employment matter. I'm having a problem with transparency and your county council. I have an outstanding public records request from November 29th. I think it's time that county council produce the documents. A little earlier, Ms. Bianchi spoke of a hostile work environment and that this was the environment. I read the Cuddy article. It sounds to me like the 4th floor is where the hostile work environment is. And if there's any liability to the county, that's where it's going to come from. I'd like to see your board ask for an investigation from the district attorney or the grand jury into the SLO matter. Last meeting, your county administrator tried to say that there'd been audits with regard to the county funds. Obviously, we're not talking about those. We might in the future, but what is happening on an individual level, you are the loudest, most important board in this county, and you have the right to ask for an investigation into the poorest people's money and their finances. And I ask that you do that. In January, Mr. Gibson told your board that he was asking Mr. Waddell about monthly updates on the Los Osos wastewater project. As we are in construction, and as the level of complaints begins to rise, that makes sense. Let's have those monthly updates. Your project is $173 million. Let's see where those $173 million are going. Day after day, people's personal money, the article in today's paper saying someone is stopped for 7 minutes. 7 minutes for somebody who makes $20 an hour, that's a lot of their money. Someone who makes $250 an hour, say an attorney, like your county council, that's a lot of money. People's time is worth money, and if your project is slowing them down on their day to work, you are costing the community more than the $173 million they have to pay. Road closures with no detours. Detours into detours. Detours onto dirt roads and dead ends. Fire trucks in an emergency are forced to turn around and go another direction to meet the needs of someone in need. There's dust everywhere. People are getting sick. We have asthma. You have PM10 down in Napomo. We have it in Los Osos. And it is time that your board takes some very hard looks at some very important issues. And I'll be back again next Tuesday to bring them up again.
Morning, board, sheriff, friends, Romans, and countrymen. I'm Ben, your father from the little village of Los Osos, where for many years many have told you that something is fishy here, and you ignore big problems like the following. 2,000 years ago, Julius Caesar had decreed that a gravity sewer system be built to collect the sewer effluent in Rome. Now, 2,000 years later, you can't tell us nothing better has come along in sewer technology than Gibson's and Pablo Ogren's gravity collection. Besides gravity collection being the most antiquated collection system in the country, it is an energy hog, and in these times of trying to conserve water and energy, these two items are a prime concern to all. We still wonder why these two picked the most expensive system in the country. And to having never looked at better and cheaper alternatives shows that those two had an ulterior motive going back to 20 years ago when the old king said, gravity is what you're going to get, so stop your bitching. And why do those two pick a gravity collection system that costs $50 to $100 million more than a better off-the-shelf alternative for this little town? Only time will tell. So here we are in the Tribune today. Here today, gone tomorrow issue of the Tribune last week. I showed you all where the mayor of Grover City is asking to see an investigation of the contract, engineer John Wallace and engineer and salaried employee, and the subcontractor John Wallace Group about the conflict of interest between them and the town of Grover Beach. Well, now looky here, right here in this week's Gone Tomorrow issue of the Tribune, Mr. Wallace is retiring, and nobody can seem to find him to accept his resignation. And with allegations of conflict of interest by the district, he is jumping ship like rats on a sinking ship. Another sacred cow gone. Your delays for an investigation by an outside Blue River Committee has cost the citizens in that district a great deal of money and damage to the environment. Your internal investigation is a mockery and embarrassment to the community, to the citizens of this county. Getting back to you supervisors, having relatives, friends, and lovers working together or in the same department should be totally forbidden. After all, their salary is being paid by the county's taxpayers. It's a bad example. Your Human Relations Department goes to a lot of trouble to see that this scenario does not happen within the 2,600 county employees. But when it happens right here by one of your colleagues, we hear silence. A fine example of nepotism by some of you five, it has an appearance of what dictators, socialists, fascists, and communists do that shows total arrogance to the citizens. How many times has the public asked you to make policy to solve these kinds of problems? Week after week, every one of you up there, wait till the scandal blows over, then you're home free till the next time it happens again. Nothing is ever proposed by any one of you to set policy to these problems, including your counselor and the administrator.
Thank you, Mr. DeFada.
Thank you, sir.
Tom Salmon, 2nd District. I came here for a couple of reasons. First of all, the editorial of the Tribune. I want to apologize to a woman here who was blamed in the article and had no reason to be blamed. I want to apologize to Debbie Arnold. I don't know you. I don't know how you and I got in the same article. I don't know how you were abused by the Tribune. I don't know why the board has not addressed that. But be that as it may, I want to personally apologize to me. Okay? I find the lack of honesty and porn journalism from the Tribune something that's been going on for a very long time. And the toxic stew was nothing I created. This toxic stew was going on long before I ever showed up here. This toxic stew has been going on for 20 years. And the lack of wanting to look at it and address it and repair it is your fault. No one else's. It's not my fault. It's not the council's fault. It's not somebody's fault. It's your fault. You're the board. You're the board president. Okay? After much thoughts about my comments last week and getting a talking to from Ms. Calhoun, who I agree with completely on her wordage, she said I was disingenuous. I am a lot of things, but disingenuous is not something that I am. The two words that I use that seem to so artificially infuriate you are used in movies, televisions, in public all the time. But you found it a way that it offended you and you interrupted my public comments, which is against the rules. You know it and I know it, so let's not play these games also. Okay? The two words I used, the definition is to corrupt oneself. It's in the dictionary. Look it up. I tried to bring it and show it to you. You refused to let me read it. The second word was for venal or unscrupulous people. Again, not a bad sentence, but you refused to let me follow. You interrupted me and ruined the whole train of thought. So I'm putting the responsibility of what happened last week surely on your shoulders, sir. You failed in your duties. Yes, you did. So do not shake your head at me. I know, and everyone out here knows it. You failed. Okay? The last thing, I want to discuss about the situation of public records tonight. Okay? About the situation for the emails. Okay? I'm entitled to know what goes in is conducted through the company or the county's email system. I have been denied that. I find that wrong. If there's something to hide, then tell me you have something that's hiding is wrong for you. But do not deny me my request. You know, to make it easy. I got drafted in 1971 and went overseas and did the work that many of you here refused to do. Okay? And there's kids over there dying refusing the things that you refuse to do. Okay? So I have a right to know what's going on in my government. Because the last time I didn't, 58,000 friends of mine died. So, sir, I'm holding you, as everything that happened last weekend, as your failure completely. Thank you.
My name is Jeanette Watson. I'm from the 4th District, Oro Grande. I was present at the last supervisors meeting when a citizen spoke out about Bruce Gibson. Then Bob Cuddy, writer at the Tribune, indicated that the significant cause of this venom was clearly the behavior of Debbie Arnold and those who backed her. I would like the public to know that Debbie Arnold is not responsible for the attacks on Bruce Gibson and Adam Hill for their errant behavior. Gibson and Hill have conducted themselves in a manner that poorly demonstrates responsible behavior of elected officials and have brought citizens forward, be good or bad, to make comments. To place blame on Debbie Arnold for these men's behavior is an attack on the character of Debbie herself. It's not right to denigrate Debbie regarding this issue. Thank you very much.
Ms. Eastran.
Andrea C. Strand, Grover Beach, 3rd District. Last week, 7 days ago, I sent an email to Mr. Erb, our Auditor Controller, and I sent copies to each of the Board of Supervisors, and I want to go on record what this email said to Mr. Erb. I'm asking that you, as the people's independent elected Auditor Controller and Chief Accounting Officer for San Luis Obispo County Government, conduct a thorough, in-depth analysis of the finances for SLO and Family Ties, which are both doing business with the county. Lisa Neeson, who has had a Family Ties, a nonprofit, is also a full-time county employee, serving as Chief Deputy Public Guardian and managing finances for the mentally ill and the disabled. In light of this, I'm also asking the Board of Supervisors to investigate County Employee Neeson as to whether there is a conflict of interest regarding her holding these two positions simultaneously. CalCoast News, an online independent news source producing in-depth investigative news in the public interest, recently reported in a series of articles serious allegations regarding the finances of the two organizations listed above. Now, I don't know if they're true or not. However, I think there needs to be an investigation. And while SLO has indicated there is no issue regarding these allegations, SLO has not produced any sort of financial reconciliation documents which would prove the fiduciary responsibility to the individuals to whom it has maintained savings accounts for future housing costs. To this end, SLO reportedly requires some of its clients to turn over portions of their Social Security, SSI, other benefit payments for future housing deposits and payments. It would seem, given the level of controversy, SLO's maintenance of its proper accounts would be easily provable. As you know, the county is a major conduit of funding for SLO. It is incumbent upon you, as the auditor controller, to conduct a prompt and thorough in-depth analysis of SLO and its connection family ties to this situation. In summary, the only way to clear up this matter and regain the public trust is to have a thorough investigation or independent analysis of the finances. I believe the Auditor Controller's mission statement says it all, and this is found on the website. The Auditor Controller is the Chief Accounting Officer for the county government. The office enhances the public's trust by acting as a guardian of funds administered for the county, city, schools, and special districts, and by providing an independent source of financial information and analysis. Thank you in advance for your immediate action regarding this request. Respectfully, Andrea C. Strand. Now, it's only been 7 days. I haven't had a response. I certainly hope the Auditor Controller will not remain silent on this issue, and I hope we have an investigation. Thank you.
I'm Steve Cole from Cambria. I apologize if I don't get it all correct here, because I missed the first part of the public comment, and so I can't correct anything that I might need to. And also, I apologize for saying something negative. As you hear a lot, I do want to say something positive beforehand, and that Bruce Gibson is my supervisor, and I'm happy to say that. I have a lot of respect for him, but only because of what I have seen him do, what I have heard him say, and I really appreciate his work. Thank you. This is regarding the sexist comments that were made in last week's comment period. A commenter called one of your female staff members a whore and a prostitute, and I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe that an adult would purposely be so abusive at a public meeting. This commenter was sexually abusive, in my opinion, towards the female of the two people in question, but not sexually abusive towards the male. So to me, this makes it more clear that this was abuse and sexual abuse to me. What followed was worse, and that is that you allowed it. I watched the video twice, and an excuse of trying is not the same as doing. You as chair did not make a clear statement to the public that this will not be tolerated here. None of the other supervisors made such a statement either. If you allow it, then it's clearly your choice to allow abuse to be heaped upon your staff. And that's very sad. Anyway, I personally urge each of you to speak out so that you're not part of the problem. Anyway, that being said, I've been following these meetings for 10 years or more, and I know former supervisor Shirley Bianchi, when she was chair, made a point of setting a line at which she wouldn't allow abuse or disruption to degrade these meetings. Obviously, she's not the only one, but she was very good at that. I listened to a lot of your meetings, I've been told, but I listen to them more than is healthy. I've seen how things have changed a bit in the last several months, and please do what you need to clean it up. The last thing I just want to say now is to your female staff person, even if the supervisors don't wish to publicly address it, I apologize to you for that unfortunate, out-of-control person who verbally attacked you last week and got away with it. It makes me very, very sad that this was done.
Terry Strickland, Apollo. I'd like to address the SLO and family ties issue. This controversy is not going away, and the public deserves some answers. As many speakers have talked about this today, so that should give you an idea that this is not going away and people want answers, and you're the people that need to ask them. Have any of you met with the auditor controller and asked questions? There needs to be review of documents and a report to the public on this issue. And the only other thing I'd like to say about the Bruce Gibson matter is, no matter what other speakers have said, this isn't about sex. This is about morals and leadership, or lack thereof. It's about lies and 6 years of cover-up. And the real question is, why has this board been so silent?
Thank you, Ms. Strickland.